I don't know
This
what you're going to see,
conference
but I
will
got to
now
pull
be
up all the stuff
recorded.
for this meeting on the same computer if I can.
There you
This
go.
conference will now be recorded.
Did you start it?
I must have, but you
Okay.
had the record button though, didn't you?
I did, and it just looked at me like I was stupid.
Okay. So if I leave, does it say now that you are organizer? Yeah, it does.
If you say so. I don't see that, but go ahead and leave and see what happens.
Well, it says that you are on my phone. It says Jeremy is organizer.
Okay.
If I leave and you guys end up getting disconnected, somebody call me. Okay?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Oh, she's gone. We're all still here.
But it's not recording, right?
I'm gonna try.
Okay.
Now it's just a big blue button says start your recording, and I click it, and it just sits there.
Ugh.
I wonder if you have to reboot.
So the issue, I can try that, but I couldn't start the meeting to begin with because it said I didn't have organizer rights. I'm afraid if we close out that we won't be able to get back in.
But did she find organizer rights? Is that how you got the button?
It just magically appeared, so it might work now. We can try it. I'll try it. I'll close out and try to get back in and see what happens.
All right, we'll stay on and see if that works.
All righty.
I don't know if it will. We might all get the boot.
All righty. Bye.
Bye.
Choose an organizer and leave. End meeting for all.
Yep.
Well, I guess we end it for all.
All right. Then we'll have to call back in or get back on.
Choose organizer and leave. I'm gonna make Julie. I'm gonna make you organizer.
Oh, okay. There it is. I got the record button. We're in business. Oh my gosh. You still there, Lori?
Yes,
Lori?
I'm still here. So now can Julie hit the record button, or does it not work for her either?
No, I think it will work for me. You just got to wait for Jeremy to come back in, and then I'll hit it. We'll start. Hopefully that will be fine. And like I said, I don't know what my picture is going to look like. I'm going to be looking at my email the whole time and getting these reports up. We got to figure out a better system for this because it's really hard to have a finance meeting this way. I know one time, Sally, we had Lori scan everything in one PDF, and that was at least we have to go hunting and pecking through our email for this report and that report.
Okay. I know the report itself. Oh, I don't know if Kelly has it out on the website or not yet. I haven't checked. But maybe that's the alternative, is putting it out there like we do for the board meeting.
Yeah, that would be helpful. Gosh, I better text Jeremy, find out what, oh, there he is. All right, I got the record button, Jeremy.
Okay, we're all on
ready?
still. Try to hit it, see what happens.
What the heck? It's not, I'm saying start recording, but it's not recording.
And it just looks at you, right?
Crap. This is ridiculous.
Now, do we technically have to record?
Yeah. Don't we, Sally?
Because if we were live,
So
nobody showed up, we wouldn't record it.
I don't remember the rationale, but
I don't know about committees. I'm not sure.
Oh, Kelly's coming back.
yeah, I texted her and asked her to come in and record for us. Oh shoot, I wonder if she'll be able to. Hi, Kelly.
Hey. Just a second. Sorry about that. So it let you guys stay in the meeting and I left, but it wouldn't let you record.
Wait a minute, it says right here, it says an organizer is recording. So are we recording right now?
I think we are because Kelly came back.
Now.
I just hit recording.
Okay.
So here's what
Yeah.
I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna put it on mute and you're not gonna hear me eat dinner. And I will just stay connected. Is that okay?
That
Yeah,
sounds great. And we can text you when it's over?
You can just exit the meeting and then text me when you're done.
Perfect.
Okay, all right. See ya.
thanks,
Bye.
Kelly.
No problem. Bye.
Okay.
right.
Well, let's go ahead and get started. It is 5:23, and after some technical difficulties, we are starting our finance meeting. We have Julie O'Rourke, Sally Bennett, and Lori Morgan, and myself, Jeremy Graham, as well as Kelly Simmons. Here, are there any disclosures of conflict of interest?
Nope.
No.
Lori, you
I
still
just,
with us?
I just wanted to state, I know we were going to maybe talk about the letter from German about banking services, and since I work for the holding company that owns that bank, I won't be involved in any decision making related to that.
Sounds great. All right, moving on to number 2 is public comment. I have not received any information for public comment. So if anyone else, no one? All right, moving on to number 3. As of our government solutions update. Sally, what you got?
As far as I know, just waiting to hear back from Frank. He had asked at the last board meeting to know who the other mayors were that were signing that letter. And I contacted the person and they sent a list and I forwarded that to Frank. And also a reminder, but I haven't heard back from Frank, so.
All right. And they haven't bothered you at all since then?
Well, they do keep bothering me, but that's okay. Just by email.
So it used to be, Sally, that you would take the minutes. Is that still something you do, or would you like me to start doing that?
I can, are you offering?
I can if you would like. You're gonna need to make sure I'm doing it right, though.
If you want me to keep doing it, that's okay. It's not that big a deal, but
We'll have you do it this. We'll have you do it this meeting, and I'll take a look at yours, and we'll both do it next meeting. And if I do well enough, I'll take it over.
okay, I like it. One less thing, thank you.
All right. Moving on to number 4, the audit for 2019 discussions.
I talked to Mark Olson last Friday, and he had been waiting for information from Benning, and he finally got it last Friday, and I know he was going to try to finish it over the weekend because he had a vacation planned this week. And as far as I know, he didn't send me anything, so I don't think he did finish it. He's just doing some of the notes. So I'll have to wait and hear from him when he returns from his vacation.
So nothing showed up, did it, Sally, from the audit?
Nothing showed up.
Any questions, concerns?
Not that I know of. It's been just sort of a weird thing with them off. Usually we have a lot of interaction when they're on site, and this year it's just been emails back and forth, and I don't really know. They haven't brought anything up that I haven't been able to give them the information for, so I think we're okay.
Okay, good.
And we filed for that extension, if I'm just double checking all that good stuff, right?
Yeah, because we're required to have it done 6 months after the end of our fiscal, but it never is. So we always do that extension from June 30th on.
Now, do we never make it because the auditor, or is it because we go off the calendar year and that throws everything?
It's typically just when the auditors get done, once because they come in December and they get information prior to the year end, and then they come back in March and collect a bunch more information. And then between March and July, I don't know if it's the fact that maybe they do multiple groups at the same time and they're just sort of going back and forth and not just finishing each one, because it always seems like they're either at the July or August meeting presenting. Some of those things, I know some of the reason for that is because we are in a calendar year, and there are certain things like the property tax thing that I sent you guys the other day. The auditors need that information. They also need information from IMRF that comes out usually in April or May. That it comes out at that time because the majority of municipalities have them made at April fiscal, and so some of the things they have to wait for.
Okay, now we don't need to go deep into this discussion now, but in very simple terms, is there a reason why we switched to the calendar year? I'm sure there obviously was.
It was a recommendation from our auditor, Don Elliott, a long time ago. I don't remember exactly all the reasons, but at that time our board was in favor of doing it.
Okay.
I
That's fine.
personally like it in the calendar year, but it's a lot easier to remember.
You said you do like it in the calendar year?
Yeah.
Is that a Bud Light? Sure looks like one.
It's just a water bottle.
Water bottle. Since we're being recorded, I better say that's a water bottle. I don't think any municipal audit is done on time. I mean, I just don't think it ever is. So anyway, what it's worth.
It just, in my 12 years, I've never had it where we didn't do an extension by different firms even. So
No, and
I don't
as long
know.
as we're not getting hit for it and everything's getting done, it doesn't,
Yeah.
no biggie.
I think those guidelines are put in place by the comptroller just because, they want people to keep up with it.
Sounds good. All right. Moving on to the budget 2020, going off of the front office repairs and the cure expenses. So I know that we all got that email from Kelly regarding the pricing for everything, and then the recommendation of, I believe it was $4,500 for the tempered glass, the speaker, and the buzz door. Did everybody get a chance to respond with their thoughts on that? Julie, I know you did.
Yep.
Because we got yelled at because I think you were the only one that did right away.
Ah,
Laura, did you?
curve buster.
I did. I did. I had to abstain from that one because my dad owns Rockford Tech Systems, so I wasn't able to give my 2 cents.
I wondered what the conflict was.
All right. So Sally, did you have some input on that one?
I just had it on there as a renewal from last month, just because at the last meeting, we didn't know if it was going to be paid by insurance, and it sounds like it is. And it sounds like they're also going to put in new carpet. So,
How are the repairs going? Have you, is everybody still outside of the office?
yes, Kelly might have more insight on that. I don't want to make her choke on her dinner. But the last time I was in there, they removed the mold, repaired the wall, but it's still in that state. It hasn't moved beyond that. And I think they were waiting to know about the window and all those things before they painted and did everything.
Okay. So they're moving forward with it, which is good. I didn't hear a final conclusion of which option we chose. I assume it was the recommended. Has anybody heard?
Yeah, they went with the recommended.
Okay.
Frank
And
signed
we went
a
over-
proposal.
Okay. And we went through the list, and we all are in agreement that it should be under the Cure Act, or the Cure, whatever it is. So it should be covered for COVID.
We're talking about the entryway and all that, right? I feel like we got two different conversations going on.
Yeah,
here,
we
don't
do. We do. That is also part of the office repair, but the original mold issue and the wetness in the wall, that was covered, and the carpet, that's all going to be covered by insurance. But
Yes.
the window, the buzzer, and the speaker and everything will be part of the Cures thing, and that'll be turned in for reimbursement.
Okay. That's awesome. We're getting all sorts of good things fixed and moving forward.
One thing that I wanted to talk about with the Cures expenses is currently working from home, I'm using a laptop from the police department that I'm borrowing. And Kelly and I were having a conversation about that because the computer that she has to work from home with it's not as nice as the one I have. And we were thinking that if this is more of a new normal, maybe we should have our own laptops. And the idea is my computer, my PC on my desk was purchased in, I believe, 2013. So it's aging. And the idea would be to replace it with something that could dock there, a laptop that could be mobile versus having a PC. And I just wanted to bring that up. We do have that $127,000 available to us, and working from home is a COVID-related issue. So I was thinking this would be the time, instead of trying to come up with the money later. So that's something that I wanted you guys to think about for me and for Kelly.
Two laptops? Two laptops on?
Yes.
Any guesstimate on the price?
No, Kelly was doing some of that research, but I also was going to talk to my husband. He's an IT person and he has a lot of knowledge. I don't have a lot of experience with laptops like he does, but this one that I've been using from the police, I really like because it has the built-in number pad. And the one that we had here at our house, the 10-year-old laptop we have, didn't have that. So I'd always be frustrated, when I was just doing personal things. And so that I'm like, Kelly, I want this number pad, low expectations. So, and I'm completely used to the size of the screen now. When I first started, I was really disappointed at how much smaller this is than my one at work. And now I go in and I'm like, wow, this is big. So,
Well, with that,
I will say we just bought I just bought a new laptop for an employee at work, including the docking station. And it was a sorry, I'm at the gas station. It was a 17-inch. It has the keypad in the laptop keyboard. And it's like a nice HP. And so all in for all of that, it was about $1,650. So if that gives you an idea about what you'd be looking at.
I'm sorry, you cut out right at the end there for me. What was the price?
About $1,650, and that included the laptop
Okay.
and the docking station and everything.
Sally,
Now, my only question with that,
sorry.
go ahead, Julie.
Well,
You're
you
good.
said Kelly was keeping the Cures Act spreadsheet of costs that have taken so far. Where are we at that? Or what, do you know what the total is by chance?
I don't.
Would it be just the entryway project, or is there something? Well, we talked about doing remote access, whether it be internet time or whatever. I don't know. I don't know where we're at with that.
Well, I know all the go-to meetings, there's a monthly charge for that. It's about $100 a month for what we're using now. That's on there. Just some supplies, we've had to purchase like the disinfectant cloths and disinfectant, things like that. But it's really just been chump change until that window.
Mm-hmm.
So I have not heard, I know Jeremy was in the meeting with Public Works, and Mike had mentioned whether because I wrote a note, Public Works COVID-19, because I really don't know if they've had any special expenses at the shop. I feel like I haven't talked to Chad in 6 months. But Kelly may be a better source for that. She obviously is a better source for that. And I meant to ask her about the list and I forgot.
So can we file for reimbursement as we spend the money? Do you know the process there? I think so. Once we get this door and the entryway and all that done, can we then turn around, fill out the application for the reimbursement? The only thing I want to avoid is us tallying up this number and then get the door slammed in our face saying, oh, we thought you were going to get up to 137, but guess what? We're Illinois and we're broke again, so you're not going to get it. So
well,
I think
that's a good idea. I would like to talk to Kelly about that because I think we should just plan on a monthly request. Like every month we just say this was last month's expenses, in case the money does run out. I mean, that happens with grants.
Right.
That's not crazy to think that could happen. So I know that we have until the end of the year to file these claims, but I haven't drilled down on the details.
Yeah, because if you think about it, some people are going to be thinking that a lot of people probably are going to be thinking just the way we are with these laptops. If you can get reimbursed and upgrade your technology and call it COVID, I'm not saying we're doing that really, because you need a good laptop for the communication, and we are going to be remote longer than any of us had dreamed we would. So
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not trying to be dishonest. I truly do need it. It just seems like it nicely fits into place with the aging technology that we're facing. So why not?
Right.
That's my concern, is that Illinois is going to come back going, well, you're just using this because your technology is old. Yes, you could use the laptop as well. So is there, when we do this reimbursement, does anybody know, is there a proof that it was for COVID only? Like, for example, the go-to meetings. Yes, we are obviously using it because of COVID, but maybe we were using it before, or we had always intended on doing it anyway. So do we have to require proof?
I
There
don't
was
know
a
if it's just enough to say,
Yeah, Frank sent out that PowerPoint that kind of had it, and I don't think they'd come back and say, what's the age of your computer if you submitted it? My guess is they wouldn't question laptops, but we don't know.
And
Mhm.
so, yeah, and you know, based off of the slideshow with those bullet points, we can legitimize almost anything. You'd be like, yes, yes, yes. And obviously, the goal is the government should be honest. But
right.
what happens if we purchase it and then they go, yeah, we're not going to reimburse you on it? Is there like, do we submit something for a proposal, like we're going to buy this, and they say, yes, here's your money? Or do we buy it and just hope they reimburse?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think you file for reimbursement as the claiming process. It's not file and get the money and do it. It was my recollection, but I'd have to look at that.
Yeah,
PowerPoint.
it is definitely reimbursement, but I don't know how much proof they need. Maybe they might require a copy of your payment method. You know, I know Todd has done that for grants in the past. He's had to have a copy of the check, copy of the, you know, all of the steps. So
Maybe we can put this on the board meeting agenda, Jeremy, and just say, hey, this is what's coming up through finance. We'd like to suggest that we do this. And then maybe Mary Gaziano could chime in then saying, that's a red flag or something if it is.
I love it. I'll mark that down as talk to the board about.
Oh, by the
Boom.
way, I promised Kelly an email tonight, Jeremy, from you. With topics to go on the board agenda, because she's pretty much got that done waiting for finance, or, you know, she likes those by 5 o'clock Thursday night. So
Sounds great.
thank you.
All right. Anything else with the 2020 budget? No?
Julie, did you happen to see the email that I replied to you with all the answers?
Yeah, I was reading it as we were messing around. Now I'm trying to figure out how to get out of this so I can get back to it. So after I looked at all the finance reports, I had emailed Sally in the hopes of saving the committee a bunch of time tonight about different things that popped out at me that I wanted clarification on, and I'll just go over them very, very quickly. The warrant list had a charge for hail damage on the F-250 of $37.69. I just asked, are we getting reimbursed from insurance on that? And I guess we already have. So that's the answer I was looking for. Thank you, Sally. I also happen to notice that the 1% sales tax figure has always kind of fallen about 65% of the other sales tax figure, but this year it had dropped, and I thought, well, I thought they were connected to the same purchases, but Sally clarified to me that no, the 1% sales tax is for things like fast food and prepackaged goods, not like groceries at Sullivan. So it would make sense that it would fall short of the other sales tax that we collected. It just was something that jumped out at me, and that makes sense to me. I just thought 1% was on top of everything, the same things that were taxed on the other. So that was just my education there. I asked where cannabis tax revenue was going. It's going to miscellaneous income. I noticed that our legal and general fund is already at the year's budgeted number, and I just said, wow. So I think she had backlogged bills, though. Some of them could have even been, you know, work from last year. I can't recall, but that's just going to be an issue on the legal side. And I think COVID made more legal work too, maybe.
I would guess there was residual handbook work from her, as well as the lawsuit with Dr. Tanner.
But you know what else, Sally? Any legal work that we could tie back to COVID should be able to be reimbursed too. So the outdoor dining, the ordinance on all this stuff that we've been doing, her time on our emergency meeting, all of that should be reimbursable under that Cures Act. So I would
Um,
make sure Kelly's kind of looking at that as well. And I think Mary does a decent job itemizing bills, so we should be able to put legal on that as well. And that, that could end up taking a good chunk. I mean, it's not gonna take 100,000,
Yeah.
but given that we're already at our budgeted amount, I bet you've got 10 grand in there at least, but I could be wrong.
mhm.
And then I also asked her about the charge on Tyler Technologies for 7305 because I didn't even know what it was, but I guess it's annual maintenance fees on what, Sally?
On all of the modules that we have. So those fees go up every year 5%. So since 2009, we've had an increase of 5% on those maintenance costs every year. And I wrote a note to Frank that Kelly and I really want to have some sort of a meeting with Encode because we don't know if there are certain things that could be upgraded in a way that would lower those maintenance costs. Maybe it wouldn't be like buying all new software, but maybe just some simple upgrades or something. And we really just need to have a conversation with them.
Okay.
And, you know, if it would also help us to, how did I put that in my notes? Oh, that must have been another thing I was writing, but if it would also help us make our jobs easier with an upgrade, then we would be all for that too. But that number seems pretty high for what we have, I think, the 7,000.
All right. Sounds good. You know what, does the thing that we kind of voted on by email, and I can't remember if that was full board or just finance on the entry expenses and all that, does that have to officially go to the board on as an agenda item too, do you think, or is that water under the bridge?
What expenses?
But like the 4380 or whatever it was, we agreed to pay for the entryway, the buzzer, the window with the slot underneath. Does that have to be on the agenda, or is that a done deal?
Well,
I think that was supposed to be like a straw poll, and then I think Frank just was able to make that decision because he has X amount of dollars to make those decisions.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it doesn't need to go through the board.
that
Officially.
might actually be an item that Kelly is putting on. Maybe with one of those votes where it doesn't exceed. But I will ask her about that. It's really weird now because just being separated, these things usually are just conversational within our two offices. So yeah, I'll ask her, but worst case scenario, just getting the approval to have it done is one thing, and then it would just go on when we receive the invoice.
Yeah.
Because that amount would be within Frank's spending capabilities, so.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay.
All right, moving on to number 6, iDrop. That is on the email that was sent at 4:14.
Yep.
We'll get to that one.
And I'm going to read to you what Kelly sent me about it as well. She said, I finished the aging report for July. I see a trend of increasing past due. I have sent letters and made calls. However, we do not do the yellow past due notices or shutoffs, and currently the late fees are still on hold, so we are not getting as good of a response from initiatives to pay the overdue balances. I did have one resident tell me that she and her husband are both out of work and supplemental checks are sometimes late or just enough to provide food. I have not had many of those reasons, mostly no response at all. We did finally receive a payment on the June Hobson account yesterday. The lien letters will be the next step for several of the accounts. But my question is, since the other deterrents have been on hold, I would like to have an answer on that. So we're not giving anybody late fees, but some of these people are at the point where they would have a lien.
So the question is, should we still go forward with the lien since we're not pushing anything else? And I guess the second part with that is, should we start charging late fees?
Right.
Whether that be just moving forward or moving from the past to current. We gave you a chance not to pay anything, but you didn't. So now it's almost like a balloon payment of, now you owe us everything plus the late fees.
So then later on in the day, Kelly and Carrie weighed in again and said, we have not applied late fees since they were suspended in March. We do not send out the yellow delinquent notices, but prior to reinstating the fees, I feel we should let them know that effective date that late fees will be assessed on the current past due amount. They are suggesting sending notices to anyone over 60 days and probably doing it in either September or October, because right now in August, Carrie's going to have to do the regular billing plus a new billing system for those cellular meters. And for a long time, she's going to be doing side-by-side billing of those two things, but in August, it'll be the first one. So, just they don't want to have to then turn on late fees and have all this crazy stuff happen. So that was what they sent me today.
Yeah, I kind of think this late fee thing is a full board discussion, isn't it? Because the full board decided that we were going to waive the late fees.
I would agree.
I
mean,
think
we
so
can obviously
too.
come with a recommendation, I suppose, to start the conversation.
I think it should at least be an item on the board agenda from finance to discuss.
Okay.
Because not only do the staff need to know when and prepare for what might happen in our system, but also they can send out notices to people saying, hey, these are going to be turned back on. And you're going to have, like Jeremy said, this big balloon. So.
Sally, the people that are in a lien situation, are they ones that started their problems during COVID or before COVID?
I think there currently is only one lien. And that person was way before the one she's talking about. Oh, I'm not sure where they are on this 2-point font document I have here. Trying to.
I don't think we got the document, did we? I see the email string, but I don't see the actual aging report.
I put it on there.
Oh, copy of 120-day delinquent, is that it?
That's it. Yes.
Oh, sorry.
There was another attachment that said aging report, but that is gibberish in my computer at least.
Okay, so I think I remember you saying you were reading an email or something and you said the next step is for liens to be applied. That was my question. For those next steppers, did they start to get into trouble in March and beyond, which is when we waived all late fees and kind of took mercy on everyone because of COVID?
I would have to ask about that.
To waive late fees and then slap the lien on just doesn't seem like the right thing to do to me. I mean,
I don't think so either.
We're saying we understand, yet here we go, we just put handcuffs on you.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, to me, I personally think we need to have a plan of when they're going to come back on, whether it's September or if the board decides the end of the year or whatever, nice thing they want to do. But we need to have that date in mind, because for some people, it may actually hurt them to be allowed to carry these balances. And then they can't recover. That happens all the time.
What would be interesting for the board, in my opinion, because I would want to see it, and I can't tell from this report either, is that, we talked about the growth. Somebody said they noticed a growth in these. Can we, the dollar amount on so the current column would be the current, they've missed their current billing, right? And then there's a 90-day column that says they're 90 days past due. Could we easily put a report together that shows, since COVID started, how that number has grown?
Well, so you would want that data from March to now, or?
Yes. Yeah, so March, April, May, June, what was the current number? What was the 90 days past due number? And what was the 120-day past due number? Just so we can gauge how delinquent our citizens are getting with all of this. I don't know how 1794 on the current past due compares to March. Was it at 200 in March and it's grown to 1700? Or was it, 1500 and it's grown to 1700? Somebody asked the question, Jeremy, I think it was you out of Public Works. They wanted to know how many people were missing their bills and how much late fee revenue were we missing. This kind of is a project that would help us gauge that, right?
Correct. And that would also help I think it would help the board make a decision on when to turn it back on. If we've realized that we've lost $6,000 in late fees, we're going to be like, oh man, we need to turn back on immediately. But if it's only been $20 and because of that, everyone's been able to have water and eat, they're like, okay, maybe we want to go till December.
Well, I guess the problem is, so how do we know if April didn't look like that last year? I mean, just by looking at an individual month, maybe April is when everyone is filling their pools, or,
I don't think we want to create that much work for ourselves. I think it'd be interesting just to see these since March through now and just see if we can ascertain anything from that. I'm talking a real simple, taking those totals at the bottom, so the 1794, the 1190, and the 3901. Okay, that's what month are we in? Is that July's? That's July's. So you're going to have July or March through July across the top, and then those three numbers off the left, and just put them in there so we can see the trend. That's all I'm talking about.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what it looks like. I have doubts that it'll tell us. I'll do it though. I'll see what, there's just so many variables as to what ends up on that list, but so we would also need to calculate what it would cost for the late fees on those balances.
Now, is that already calculated and we just don't hit the submit button to charge them, or is it just entirely turned off?
It's entirely turned off.
So you would have to manually go through and.
Well, is it a percentage or what is it?
Yeah, so if I do the spreadsheet for March through current, I could just add in, it's a 15% charge.
You can do that cell times 0.15.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I mean,
I had,
if we decide to turn it on and go backwards to charge them, we're gonna need to know that information.
I had
anyway.
looked at this earlier in the month. I was looking at aging reports and I honestly can't remember why I stopped. There was a reason, like it just the data isn't, but we'll do that. We'll see what it looks like. Maybe do a trend line, add up the late fees and see what it looks like. We don't know turning those back on if so. We don't know how it's going to affect the account, if it'll go all the way back to when they were shut off, or if it'll just charge, or if we can tell it when to start charging. So like we've had them shut off all this time, and if someone hasn't paid, we're not going to ask them to pay back through March in late fees. We would only want them to start when we start it. So we don't know how that's going to happen. And maybe it's a non-issue, I don't know, but that's just one of the worries that we have. So in that regard, there are over 1,400 accounts, and we would have to look at everyone and make sure that it was being processed correctly.
Well, not really. You'd only have to look at the 15 or 20 that are delinquent, right?
Well, but being delinquent, there are parameters beyond. So is it, I'm not sure.
Theoretically, everyone else in the village has paid and they're good to go, up to date on their water, minus these 20 people.
So you could look at the delinquent people and see if it's kind of getting flaky, and then just check
Okay.
if it's normal and make sure it didn't go back and charge them a late fee on things they already paid. And you wouldn't be looking at 1,400 accounts.
I guess I didn't realize there were so few on here that are current. I was thinking this whole thing was okay.
But if this problem grows, then you're going to be looking at more and more of them, or you spot check them, and if they're working right, then you're done. I mean, hopefully the system's smart enough, but who knows?
Yeah, just see what we can come up with and go from there. Obviously, this is a crazy time. Every day is something new and exciting. So,
Yep. Yeah, I'll look into that for sure. I do have it on my board.
perfect. All right. Moving on to number 7 is bank reconciliation. I gotta find that.
I don't have it done. I'm about halfway done with it, and I had to put it away, and it's been a crazy week. I thought I would get to it, but I didn't.
Sounds good. So we'll just need to remove that from the board.
Yeah.
I'm trying a new color coding system, so we'll see how it goes. All
And
right,
then
moving on.
You should have
moving on
received the credit card. Sorry.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm good with
and that one, the credit card one, is also on the 414 email.
Mm-hmm.
And based off of what I see, I don't see anything. Everything looks good to me. And then, of course, we're keeping track for the things that should be COVID related.
Yes.
Laura, I know you can't see it, but it looks pretty. Julie, did you have any issues?
Nope, it was fine.
Moving on, the First National Bank Agreement renewal. So
Did you
I
guys
know-
get a chance to look at that?
I'm looking at it right now as you're speaking. Sally, what did you see, pros, cons? I know you had some commentary there. Was there anything that jumped out as it's so much better, or I wish I have that now, or anything like that?
No. From what I could tell, they're not offering anything more than what we already have. I don't have it in front of me for some reason. Maybe I might be able to pull that up real quick.
All these freebies, you're saying we have the same freebies at First National, the free scanner and permanent waiver of remote capture fees, free
Yes.
checks and deposit slips, free safe deposit box.
We do not have a free safe deposit box. We pay $36 a year.
Okay.
And we also pay for our checks. I order checks every 2 years.
Every 2 years?
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's like 100 and something every other year.
Okay.
Because it's cheaper if you buy in bulk, so I buy enough for 2 years.
Well, and it says free checks equal to your current supply, not an endless supply.
Oh, okay.
So basically.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I just want to ask something because something's triggering in my brain from a previous meeting when we kind of discussed this. Are we paying fees at First National for like transfers, ACHs? Like, are we paying fees on any of that? I thought you had mentioned one time that we were getting charged a fee to transfer money between accounts, and I don't think that's a reason to switch, but it would be something to approach First National about and make sure that, online banking and those types of things, those should all be free. We shouldn't probably be paying fees for that stuff.
We currently don't pay any fees to First National except for that safe deposit box. And they use that 200,000 in the sweep. That's how they make money.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I thought I remembered you saying we were charged a fee or something for something related to a transfer or something, and I was like, that's not right. So as long as we're getting, you know what I mean, the basic services that we need.
Now, positive wise, the free checks and then the $36 a year for the safe deposit box. Negative wise, is there anything that you felt First National Bank offered that we use that we would be really missing out on from just German American?
So you're saying, is there anything that if we switched, we would miss from First National?
Correct.
Well, one thing that First National offers that German American doesn't is the positive pay. And, it's kind of a hassle because I have to either upload a file or manually enter in all the checks that we write. And when the checks are sent to First National, if they're not on the list, they get rejected. And that's just to make sure that no checks slip through without us knowing about it. And that the details on the check match what I put out there. And even though, like I said, it is kind of annoying sometimes, I really feel like that's a good product for us.
especially since you're the only one doing it. It's a secondary check for you.
Right?
And German American doesn't have that?
No.
Okay. Any other services? I'm sure they offer hundreds of them, but that we actually utilize.
I don't have that up. Wait just 1 second. I don't do the GoToMeeting from my VPN connection because then it's really shaky and sketchy. So I'm going to minimize this and go to my VPN. Let's see. So I mentioned in the email itself that I do not recommend that we move our money from the Illinois funds. So if that's a deal breaker for German American, then it is for us.
Where did they ask us to do that? I'm confused.
He says,
Or is that the where it says the village typically has between 800,000 and $1 million on deposit?
it says in here, let's see.
I think it was on the second page where he's saying that the offer would be contingent upon us banking exclusively with them.
Yes. It says our offer is contingent upon selecting German American State Bank to be your sole provider, eliminating not only First National Bank of Beloit, but also the state of Illinois.
Oh, okay. And you don't want to eliminate the state of Illinois because of?
I assume just because they want to have more money in those accounts.
No, Sally, you said in your email that you would not consider removing your money from the Illinois funds. Why not?
Right.
Well,
all of our taxes are automatically put into those accounts. And they typically have a higher yield. Those accounts are treated like money market accounts, so that's why they have a better yield.
Okay.
I just really feel like it's a better place for our reserves.
Okay. Well, you have your pulse on what the rates are and what we're being paid, so.
But I wouldn't, those accounts were set up way before I started, but it's just very simple, and I would not want to complicate that by pulling the money from those accounts and having to restructure all the tax payments coming in from the state, and not getting the yield that we're getting from being part of the Illinois funds.
Right. And it sounds like you're getting efficiencies by doing it the way we have, so there's a cost to unwinding all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm hearing from you, Sally, is you want to stay where we're at.
Right. That's my recommendation based on this proposal. I feel like, well, when Jeff and I had a very good conversation, I was making a list of all the functions that we have with First National, and it took me a good 30 minutes to go through it all with him, exactly all the services that we do have. And at the end of the conversation, he said, is there, what do you want? What what can we do? And I said, well, I don't know, you have other municipalities, do they get any sort of perks? And then he just really was offended by that. And he said, well, what kind of perks do you want? And I don't know if it's that word or what. I was just like asking what other municipalities get, and if there is anything special that they get because they're a municipality. So I noticed in the proposal there was something about the perks, but other than that, the meeting was great. And I wasn't trying to do anything shady by saying perks. That was just the term that I pulled out of the air.
You were asking for a differentiator, not for perks, for a differentiator. What do you bring to the table special for me? Right? That's kind of where you were going, not perks.
But I mean, I would be happy to reconsider if anyone has any reason why we would change. I don't really see one.
Based off of what you said and what we have here, and us being so close, I mean, we're the $36 and then the checks that we get every other year, but otherwise, they both provide great service or great products for us. With that not being a huge difference between the two, that I recommend we stay with First National. And then when it comes up time again, if we want to relook at it, always keep our options open. And it's great that we took that time to see what else is out there.
I truly believe in due diligence. I really would need to be dazzled to go through all that.
And especially since they're located here in Bago.
Improvement in yield or something. I mean, we got to think about the taxpayers and so forth, but it didn't look like there was any big differentiator, big perk.
And that big perk was that German American was here in Bago and First National wasn't. That might be enough on its own, but if they're right down the street from each other and everything else is pretty much even.
Or I guess if something changes within the structure of First National, if their corporate ideals change and we decide we want to switch, at least we kind of know we've had this offer from German American and we know where they stand,
Absolutely. And, we can look at this again. Well, the contract is what, 3 years?
2, isn't it?
I think it's 2. She might have made it 3. I don't know.
So, I mean, we're already halfway through year 1 anyway, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we stick with First National, and in 2 years now, if we want to take a look at it again, we can. If we want to wait till another cycle because we just did this and we don't want to keep poking at German American going, oh yeah, what else you got? Then we can wait a little longer, but to continue to keep our options open and moving forward.
So is that what the committee will recommend at the board meeting?
Okay. She's shaking her head yes. Now, do we have to do, since it's coming from committee, do we have to do a motion for that?
Yes.
Okay. Julie, would you like to make a motion?
Oh, I was thinking you were saying at the board meeting, not the committee level. Yeah, I guess I'll make a motion to retain First National for the duration of the 2-year contract.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, moving on to Gills. So before we get into the contract, what happened with the recycling in Resch?
I wasn't privy to that.
Okay, I guess Gills missed a whole bunch of houses, like just streets.
On Tuesday?
Not just in Rush Farms. Ours has not been picked up multiple times.
Uh-oh.
Mine was in Rush Farms, so that's probably why I didn't know.
Okay, I saw that on the Winnebago County, or the Winnebago community page. And the village had sent out a message saying, hey, we let them know they're coming back to pick it up tomorrow, I believe. Maybe it was today.
I think today or tomorrow. I did see that now that you say that. I don't remember which day, maybe tomorrow. So I didn't know where we were at with the Gills contract. Did you guys want a staff member to do any research, or like how do we proceed?
I thought this was, didn't Frank put this under his thing? Or is this, I don't think this was under finance permanently. You just wanted us to look at the contract, Sally, right? I was thinking,
Well, at the meeting, I thought finance was going to look at it. I didn't really know what.
I don't know where this thing belongs, to be honest. I don't know who's taking charge of it. I don't know who's, leading up the conversation with Gills or.
Well, Frank had said that in the past, he had negotiated the contract with Gills. And I was under the impression from the meeting that the board wanted to look at some other providers, but I don't know who or how you figure out who should do it.
I'll add it to the list of things we need to talk about at the board meeting, and we'll figure it out then.
Yeah,
Okay.
tie a bow around that baby.
We do have a new caller number 3. Can you identify yourself, please?
You're muted.
Whoever the caller was that just got into our meeting, could you please identify yourself?
I can dismiss them, it looks like.
New caller, this is your last opportunity. Please identify yourself. Otherwise, unfortunately, we will have to dismiss you.
Not sure if that's me. I was just going through a low connection area, so maybe it was me coming in and out.
It is you. I can see your little speaker thing going.
Sorry about that. I'm going through my
Almost disconnected her.
We're not doing that. That's why I thought I'd better speak up. Okay, I'll be back on mute.
All right, where are we at the agenda?
Number 11, the IEPA payment not received.
So last board meeting, we on the warrant list had the check for the IEPA payment for the water tower. And they had sent information ahead of time saying that a lot of municipalities' checks hadn't been received, and they thought that maybe we should make an electronic payment instead of sending a check. And I said, well, we have over a week and I have the check printed. I'm just going to print the check or mail the check. And as of today, they have still not received the check. And they're telling me that many municipalities in Illinois, these checks are missing.
Uh-oh.
So I've checked the bank every single day, making sure that, and we have the positive pay. So it would be flagged if someone washed the check and put their own information on there. But since then, I've been in contact with them. I talked to the post office just before our meeting. Mary Ann, the postmaster, recommended that I go onto the website and file a missing mail. It's like a missing mail claim. So I went on and I did that. And which identified where it was going and who it came from and all of and what was inside. And so I guess then if you do that and there is some problem with like maybe it got ripped and got put into some other area at the post office, then they'll go looking in those areas to match it up with the claim. So at least we have that going for us. I don't know how the committee or the board feels about me stopping payment on the check and doing this electronic ACH.
Is
The
the
cost-
stop payment?
The cost
sorry,
for the stop payment is $34.50. So we would, if we were to do that, we would definitely pay that because the check is $48,000 something. And then I would also remove it from positive pay so that if it did come through, it would be flagged and it wouldn't be paid twice. The stop payment will make sure of that too, but it would just be another layer of protection from that.
How long has it been lost, Sally?
It was mailed on July 14th
Oh,
and it was due on the 21st. They told me at the EPA that they currently don't have a system in place to charge late fees. So a lot of the municipalities are just like, whatever. And
It'll get there when it gets there.
to a certain degree, I feel that way. But, we don't want to be deadbeats. We want to do the right thing. I thought maybe we could just set a date since I did that missing mail thing and, say like August 15th, if it still hasn't been received, maybe we would do that.
I like that.
Okay. Do you think August 15th is a good time? Okay.
That's a Saturday. Is that,
Oh,
Then the
yeah,
17th.
you're right. How about the 17th?
okay.
All right.
That is
That's,
odd, though.
do
A
you-
lot of municipal checks we just never got there. That just seems a little weird.
I'm wondering, like, did they put the wrong address on the invoice or something? Like,
Weird.
has anyone troubleshooted it, or are they just saying, oh, you need to pay us again?
Okay, yeah, so August 17th, we'll wait for that.
Okay.
Do you guys feel that we need to bring that to the attention of the board, or think we're good and then it's $34 if we need to?
I don't think it merits a board vote or attention.
Okay.
All right. The next number, which I can't see, it's on the side of my screen, is the policy project, number 12.
We don't really have anything.
Sounds good. Any new business?
I noticed when I was doing the minutes that we talked about NICOR last time, and I didn't know is that in our court or my recommendation is that we don't change, but I didn't want to just leave it lapse. I wanted input.
My understanding with the NICOR stuff is we need to sit down as a, Julie, what did you call it? It was a fancy finance.
Oh, a strategic planning?
That's it. Strategic planning meeting. And at that point, we were going to discuss if we wanted to charge for the NICOR.
Okay, okay. I just wanted to make sure it didn't lapse.
Yeah, I don't know that the NICOR decision was really that part of that though. It was just trying to understand the mechanics of this arrangement. And I think that's what you were gonna do. And maybe you have your arms around it, Sally. Do you think you have your arms around
I think we're talking about two separate,
credit versus, I don't know.
I think there's two separate questions on that. I was talking about the NICOR, charging the NICOR tax to the population.
Oh, yeah.
You're talking about that free NICOR for the municipality.
Exactly. That's right, Jeremy. Thank you. So yeah, you're right. The tax was strategic. The other was just trying to figure out exactly what it meant.
So
It's
did
the usage charge or whatever.
Did we figure out if we got money back if we didn't use it all?
Only if we switch to a different method. And the different method is, currently what happens is we're allotted so many therms and we never use them and we don't pay anything and we don't receive anything back. It's just a wash.
And we just
But
get
if we
gas.
switch, they'll pay us X amount for these therms at the beginning of the year or whatever, and then they bill us for our usage. So we have to offset what we receive from them and what we pay. And to me, that why wouldn't we just continue doing what we're doing and not having to worry about whether it's offset?
I think what we determined though, we weren't using all the therms, so we would have gotten a couple grand back or something like that. And I think we were going to look at 3 years of data. Now it's all coming back to me. Did we look at 3 years of data to find out how much we just basically walked away from?
3 years? Well, no, honestly, I didn't ever know that we had a limit of therms in the first place. I thought it was just that we were exempt from paying. So sorry, I didn't write down anything about 3 years of data.
I thought you were going to go back to the NICOR rep, or I assume we have some kind of rep, and say, can you give me you don't have to do anything. Give me a 3-year analysis. What did we use and what did we have allotted? And then we could figure out. And I think the risk you run too is they give you a credit for a year worth of therms at whatever the current price for energy is or whatever. I'm a finance person, I'm not, but and then if the price goes up because the cost of gas goes up, we could run into a risk, maybe. I don't know. Is it all on therms or is it therms and price once they pay you? I don't know.
Well, and I guess because I'm superstitious, now we're not getting billed for this. So if we start paying bills and getting billed, what if they decide not to pay us anymore?
Well, they pay you up front, so that would be easy they pay you at the beginning of the year, and then it's kind of like you're working off your credit for the year. You could always go back to the other method. I don't know. I think it'd be worth looking at a 3-year history, and if it's pennies, then we're not going to worry about it. If it's, for some reason, I was thinking it was a couple $1,000s is what we determined, but I don't know if that was just last year's or if that was in that letter. Or somewhere $2,000 is in my brain.
I'll have to go back and look at the amount. I didn't recall that, but
use or something. Maybe that's what he said in the letter. Maybe we didn't use 2,000 therms, but I have no idea what that equates to for money.
Okay.
So
sorry, I don't have it with me. It just dawned on me under new business that I didn't know where we were at with it. So
Kelly, I can appreciate and understand your simplicity's sake. Why create more accounts? Why do it? But if we determine over 3 years there was $2,500, we got to at least have a conversation about it, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
There is no need for executive session that I'm tracking. So before we do our next meeting and adjourn here, I have a few things for the agenda for the board meeting. I just want to make sure there's nothing else I missed. The first one was the 2 new laptops for Sally and Kelly. I was going to say Lori. Sally and Kelly for COVID. The second one was with iDrop dealing with the late fees, sending out notices, when we're going to start doing that, possible liens, all of that. Then third one was to remove the bank reconciliation from the board packet. And the final one was to bring up the Gills disposable contract to talk about that. Is there anything that I missed?
What was your second to last thing? I'm sorry, I had a minor interruption.
The removing the bank reconciliation
Oh, okay.
from the consent agenda, I believe.
I do remember one thing, Julie, about your questions with that 300,000
Oh,
that
yeah.
we have in reserves. I don't know if you wanted to talk about that or.
Yeah, just maybe for a minute. So we were supposed to put 300,000 in reserves for our WRD, and we did it 1 year in 2017. Thank you. And then we were supposed to do it in 18, 19, I believe, and probably 20, but we never did. And I think you said it's because we kept it in that, I don't know if it's in the Illinois state funds or wherever it is because it earns more interest, but we're not, I guess I want to make sure, because, board turns over and all of that. We just want to make sure, we have records saying we're going to do this, but nowhere in our documentation did we say we did it because we didn't do it. You know what I mean? So I'm just, we got that nice bucket of I can't remember the number, 1.6 million, but of that, really 900, I think, should be reserved in this RRWRD escrow, right?
That's how I feel too, at least. And I think before the end of the year, we need to see if we can make it more than that.
Because of the missing from the past?
Yes. Well, in 2018, we didn't do it because, and it's not that we didn't do it, we just decided not to move it into that other account. So the money hasn't necessarily been moved anywhere else, but we were just concerned when the water main project was going on because the price of that kept getting higher and higher. It went from like 300 to 450, and we just decided not to commit to that 300 at that time. But now that we're in hindsight, we can basically move as much as we feel comfortable with. But ultimately, I think it is going to be 1.8 million due to us at the end of 2021.
Right. So I don't care about logistically moving it. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to move it out of a higher yielding account, but somehow we need to have our records indicating that of that, 1.6 million or whatever the number is, 900 is spoken for. So it'd be nice to have a note on that, whether we just put a note on that sheet, Sally, a footnote saying 900 really belongs in the escrow, just so everybody kind of keeps that in mind. We're not as rich as we think.
Well, and I could put it in that escrow line on the report, just not actually move the money at the bank, just to.
Whatever's clearer and cleaner. I don't know what's the cleaner or clearer method. Again, think about the whole board being wiped out and 6 new people come in. Who's going to know what? That's how I like to run things and keep everything so clear that anybody could pick it up. I know, because when you get started as a board member, you're like, I don't even know what the heck is going on here. So it's nice to have as much outline as possible. That's all I'm saying.
With the budget for the footnotes, it's always, obviously it's a footnote, so it's the very back at the bottom, and to reference it, you'd have to be looking back there to see that that's 900,000 is covered for it.
Even if we just asterisk that 1.6 or whatever, I don't have the report in front of me, so I can't remember what the number is, and put a footnote at the bottom saying 900 of this really belongs in the ROWD escrow or something like that. Just a reminder. Thanks, Sally. I forgot about that.
Oops.
Okay.
All right. Pending anything else? Oh, we need another meeting date. Doo-doo-doo. How does, let's see, we normally do the first Tuesday or first Thursday of the month. So it'd be September 3rd.
We have to kind of work on Sally when she could get us the reports, otherwise we wouldn't have anything to look at. I'm not sure that would be.
I wouldn't be able to have that report until the 11th.
Okay.
The
Now,
11th is
we
a
use-
Friday, and the board meeting then would be the 14th.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not meeting on a Friday night, sorry.
Did I look at the wrong month?
Well, September 10th is a Thursday, if that's what you're thinking.
Oh, that's what I meant. The 10th. That's the earliest I can have the report. We could do, well, I don't know if you guys, we used to do the meeting on the same day as the board meeting.
Mm-hmm.
We
I
did,
don't know
but
if that
sometimes we
works.
never get finance things on the agenda. We never really had them on the board agenda then. We just kind of said things anyway, or
I don't remember, but yes, I don't know how we would have added them. Maybe, no, because the agenda has to be posted. I didn't just run them over.
that's why the 10th would be to get agenda items on the big board meeting, it would have to be the 10th. But is that stressing you, Sally? We
Yeah,
did get some
but-
reports at 4:15 today. Let's be real.
Well, all that means is like this month and last month, I just made my deadline earlier for invoices because that's what the big problem is when I cut off the accounts payable for the board, because all of my reports are based on those payments and having everything up to date. So if I do my cutoff on Tuesday instead of Wednesday, then I can get it done.
What do you think, Jeremy? Do we stick with the Thursday so that we can have real agenda items?
Let's stick with the Thursday, and then we can talk with Kelly on how that would work. Because we did it for like 2 years where it was the same day. It was at like 55. And we somehow managed to work it. I just don't remember how we did it.
Yeah.
Maybe we just use new business more than,
Or just at finance, and then I just talked about whatever I wanted to during the finance time.
Yeah, it never seemed to be an issue. I don't know.
Sally, do you think you guys could put that spreadsheet together before the board meeting, the iDrop? Did we put iDrop on the agenda, Jeremy, as one of your items, just to look at the trend? Well, we did. We talked about the trend on late fees and all that. If we could get that, that would be great. I don't think it's a whole lot of work. It shouldn't take that long. Just looking up 6 months worth of reports.
I can do it in the morning.
Okay. Would you mind
I
sending
have
it out
access.
to us, too? Like when you get it done?
Say again?
Would you mind sending that out to finance when you get it done so we can see
Sure.
it before the board?
Yeah.
So Lori, does Thursday work for you? Thursday the 10th?
Yes, Thursday the 10th is actually good for me.
Okay. Well, we'll shoot for Thursday the 10th then. At what time would we do this at? 5:15?
That's good for me.
Good for me.
Sounds good. And that's pending, of course, that we don't do a cow meeting instead.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
I think
Well,
we're
you
trying to
guys look
avoid.
so excited about that.
All right,
All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
I'll make the motion. Oh, I'll second.
All right, we got a motion from Julie and a second from Lori. All right, that's it.
6:47.
It is.
All right. Bye,
Have a
everybody.
wonderful night, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Later. Thank
Bye.
you. How do I?